All rise, the pod is now in session. Yeah, we got another one for y'all.
And another one.
Yeah. We got a couple of topics we'll get through today. Discussing the Lakers, the aftermath of the Laker trade. Already feeling some effects, at least in Dallas.
Lincoln pulled out a receipt already.
No.
He didn't even have to wait 30 days.
We got recapping the Super Bowl.
Eagles fly. Jeez.
Oh, my goodness. It was a good whooping. Not only would they whoop, if you happen to catch the halftime show, there was another whooping.
Rough day for light skins.
It was oh my goodness. Not a day to be a light skinned brother, man. So, yeah, good halftime show. Relatively, I mean, by most people's standards, lackluster Super Bowl, but it is what it is. What else we got, fellas?
A little talk about AD. Him and Max Christie had a nice debut, and then it ended just that quick. So you thought Dallas fans were mad before. Looks like they're going to be mad a little longer because Street Clothes may be making an appearance here for a couple weeks.
Just when we thought he had left the building, now he's back.
Injury, right?
Man. Oh man. So where do we start?
Since we already own it, man. Never mind. I guess we start with the Super Bowl, being that that's the biggest event right now in the world. Hey, at least here in the States, you know what I mean?
Good turnout for the week.
So for those of you who follow football or care, today was the Super Bowl played by the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFC. Not much of an exciting game, not too competitive, unfortunately. I've seen better, but I've seen worse.
Which was actually surprising.
Yeah,
I was surprised the way they got in there and stepped on their neck. When it was 24-0, I was like, yeah, I'm not counting them out yet. I've seen it too many times, especially as a Niners fan. But I was like, I can't count them out just yet. But the start of that third quarter, it was like, yeah, this is happening. You could feel the way they jumped, the way that defense, how many times they got to Patrick Mahomes was just like
consecutively. Back to
it's
back
almost
sacks,
like
it wasn't quite reminiscent of the Tampa Bay game, but it was similar.
Yeah, it was very strange how easily it felt that the Eagles were just superior. Like you would have thought they would have come in the favorite and they were the ones looking for a three-peat. It was so weird, but yeah, not much of a game. But I mean, to see, I was happy for them to get that win. You know what I mean? You look at them, that team had been put together very well, had some ups, had some downs, and then coming into it, I didn't have high hopes for them. I just thought, here comes a three-peat, but pleasantly surprised in that regard. But man, I tell you, the way they beat them, you know, Chiefs not scoring until the second half, and even then, by that time, the Eagles were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. So it didn't even feel like that score, whatever they scored, felt like the aftermath of like, yeah, let them get some points up.
Yeah, it was way too little, too late. It was, it was garbage time, for lack of a better term, in football. Yeah, that's all it was. That's all it amounted to. I mean, by the 2-minute warning mark, like, what else could be done at that point? Like, all Philly had to do was get a couple of first downs, take the knee a few times, and that's the way it ended. But I had a hunch it would be a blowout. I just didn't see it going the way of the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought it would be a blowout the other way. I mean, yeah, I just figured they were a better team. I thought Patrick Mahomes was going to have an historic night in that he would be the first quarterback, maybe the first team to win a three-peat. Now, as it stands, your Los Angeles Lakers are the last team to actually three-peat in any professional sport in the States. So,
right.
I mean,
I expected it to be close though, but clearly not.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be. I really wasn't that interested in this game because I thought it was going to be not necessarily lopsided, but I thought Casey was going to win. But what happened is early on, if you watch the game, a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes happened. You saw the fumble, the interception. It was just like
penalties. Yeah.
Right. And right then and there, I said, usually when that happens, the game does not, go the way. And they scored quickly off of it. So they scored quickly. But I mean, the first half score was just like, the way you guys are playing and the way that score is looking like, I knew they couldn't come back unless they were going to pull like Brady did against the Falcons. I just didn't think that was going to happen. Really what happened, really how you can sum this game up, was all their inefficiencies during the season. It finally showed its head.
Yeah.
You played against a team that's great defensively, has a great offensive line, and that defense, they didn't have to really get pressure from, from the outside or anything. It was that front four putting in work. I mean, they just kept sacking them. I've never seen Pat Mahomes get that frustrated and look that out of sorts. That and once that happened, he started, forcing the ball downfield, and one of the
Those
interceptions,
interceptions start coming.
right? Well, one of the interceptions came because he got bumped. One of his linemen got bumped into him as he was throwing, and he stepped on he threw it off his back foot, and that was it. Throwing off your back foot, your back leg is always going to be bad, and I couldn't believe. Okay, they lost, but to lose like that, and the only reason you scored was garbage time.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have been seriously looking at a donut game. If it weren't for them pulling out their guys and backup quarterback and backup guys, it could have been a donut.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've seen, who would have thought that coming from the Patty Mahomes team? Andy Reid over there. Yeah. They had they didn't have an answer from no side, defensively, offensively. It was out of sorts. And I think it kind of caught them off guard and they couldn't gain their footing, and the rest is history.
Yeah, they got so used to whooping on people that they finally got hands put on them and didn't know what to do. It was like, what do we do in this moment? Like, we've never been in this situation.
You get punched in the mouth.
Pretty much.
It was just pretty much it was an evening of whooping feet. That's what it was.
That's what it was. And if it sounds like we have low energy about the game, that's because that's just what it was. It was one of those deals where I wasn't too hyped about it myself. And nobody I know, I don't think anybody expressed any real enthusiasm for the game itself. The most exciting part, if you will, I mean, let me say this before I get to that point. I'm happy that Jalen Hurts has some sense of vindication. You know what I mean? Some justification. He got his. It was good for him, and even Nick Sirianni, who's been getting a lot of huff for not being able to finish. Yeah. I thought pretty much, oddly enough, for somebody who's been in Super Bowl with the last 3 years, he'd been there twice, something like that.
Yeah.
So and also played against the Chiefs.
You lose one Super Bowl and it's like now you won the hot seat because you didn't get back or you failed to win. Like that's the NFL. That's sports in general now. It's such a what have you done for me lately type of deal. If you don't replicate that success you had that very next season, it's like you went your way out damn near. But aside from that, I mean the game itself, a bit of a snooze fest. Way too dominant, way too lopsided that first half. I knew we weren't getting any last quarter theatrics and heroics from anybody. Like that game was pretty much in the bag by that point. So I wasn't worried about that. I knew that ship had sailed early in the third quarter. The highlight of the game, what I was looking forward to, I mean, most of us out here on the West especially, were lovers of Kendrick Lamar hip hop. I heard you like him young. Was the halftime performance from none other than Kendrick Lamar, K-Dot, Compton Zone. Hell of a performance, man. For all of it was, again, like I said earlier, we discussed it. I thought it was a bit low energy. Like it didn't seem as hype as it would have been for somebody who was taking his victory lap. But I mean, in terms of like,
that's rap.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like if you look at a Bruno Mars, you look at a Beyonce, you look at even. I mean, I guess you can't even say that because if you look at what Dre did, that had energy to it. You know what I mean? With everybody coming out and.
It was a rough.
So I think maybe because that had to do with it was on the West too. It was in Inglewood, but it was in Southern California. Right.
So it was kind of about a certain level of energy. Yeah, that's true.
It seemed like slightly muted energy. It just didn't seem like everybody was on 10 fully turned up like I would have expected it to be. Knowing he was going to do what he did. But I mean, Kendrick, in true Kendrick fashion, that performance was complete with a whole bunch of Easter eggs, subliminals, stuff you got to dig for. And it was very intentional. And as only Kendrick Lamar can do. He communicates that very effectively and very intentionally and deliberately, but in a way that you don't always catch. It takes some digging and some looking. So there was that. Artistically, it was wonderful. The production was great. In terms of, I haven't seen a rapper put on a full production, a show like that in quite some time. And for people who were talking about Lil Wayne should have performed, it was in New Orleans, and do what compared to that? You know what I mean? I can't think of a rapper who would have put on the show like Kendrick did. Like that was a full blown spectacle of a show.
Just Samuel L. Jackson coming out as Uncle Sam.
My goodness.
That was like, you can't beat that.
That was a definite. Oh man, that was brilliant on this part. I guess that was the surprise he was talking about. He was leading.
Not only coming out to, but a full production, but a full production that was part of his vision. That's part of his company, PG Lang. That's what made it like every aspect of it, not just the music, every aspect is like his baby,
Yeah.
and most people that wouldn't
Dancers
have
from
happened.
the American
Yeah.
flag, the whole nine. Yeah.
And that's the thing about Kendrick Lamar is everything is intentional, and I knew there's going to be some type of message or something to it. It wasn't just going to be, okay, let's go out there, perform and get everybody. And I think that because the game was so lopsided, it didn't help Kendrick because we all loved it. They still sang along with, Not Like Us. But
before you get to that part, yeah, but what were you saying? Finish your point though. Yeah, I want to kind of segue
yeah,
on
I'm
that.
just saying because it's just when you look at it, it was dead by the halftime. So
Yeah.
Steph, it,
Yeah.
it was
It
already
was.
dead. And the
Yeah.
Eagles fans, they were happy, of course, the Eagles fans, but as a whole at the Super Bowl stadium, it was so I mean, because you think about what was on the line, there was a storyline of can you three-peat? And I think pretty much everyone that was watching the game kind of knew like that's out the window. It's over. By the time halftime came, I don't think anyone was thinking like, oh, Kansas City's gonna come back. It was just like, and then here comes halftime.
Yeah.
And now we have to pick ourselves up, even though
Yeah.
we shouldn't have. I mean, I enjoyed it, being a West Coaster, but
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
And being a
yeah,
fan of
for everyone
Kendrick, right?
else,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there is some bias.
right.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Biases exist, and I have mine. Yeah, I'm sure you got
Right.
yours too. But
And,
Yeah.
I'm a
but
Raiders fan anyway, so it's not like I want to Kansas City to win. So
and I'm a
Yeah.
Dolphins fan. Chris, you a fan of the Niners.
Niners.
None of us had a
Yeah.
dog in the fight, so
Yeah,
it was like whatever.
no.
But congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles.
For
Much deserved victory. Again, that's good for Nick Sirianni. Good for Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
So it only raises their stock. But
Saquon Barkley, that story. I mean, just him
right.
going from trash to treasure and literally pulling out a ring is like,
And the
good on you,
sacrifice that
man.
he made towards the end of the season was not for
Yeah.
naught. And that's
Yeah.
good too, that it didn't go to waste. So but towards the crescendo of the halftime show, we got what we were all waiting for, what everybody was looking forward to. What he teased throughout the performance was his performance of Not Like Us, his smash that quite literally put him on this platform. Like that has
Yep.
pretty much been his calling card for this year. I mean, no, he did release a great album. I love GNX. It's one of my favorite albums of this year, especially rap albums. But how'd you guys feel about his teasing that out before he finally went into it and his performance of that?
I thought he gave us the out when he said, I want to perform your song, but they sue. And that to me was kind of like,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. We heard the hook a little bit. We heard a couple bits of it, but when he said that, I was like, okay, well, that's his acknowledgement that look, I want to give it to y'all, but it ain't gonna happen today. I said, I respect it. I respect it because when you're light skinned and hurt, it's a bad combination. Things end up in court. So
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool, that's fine. And then he came with it, and it was a slow burn to it, and then it was like, here we go. When he looked in that camera and called that man's name, I said, oh yeah, that was Mortal Kombat.
With the most, with that mischievous smile like that.
Oh man, just
that
like you
shit-eating
actually
grin,
thought I wasn't gonna get this one off. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was
And the fact that he teased at it too, like just gave you a quick, a couple. And I'm thinking, how I was thinking was going to happen was he wasn't going to do it. He was just going to kind of play the music, and hopefully the crowd would get into it and they would sing the song for him. But when he finally ripped it, I said, because when you see the pattern of the songs, he went from the kind of joyful, happy, and then the GNX supposed to be the darker side. I'm looking for war. I'm looking for, confusion. I'm looking for I'm looking for that type of energy, and it was kind of fitting. So, I mean, I just wish that the crowd got more into it as far as the energy, because it really it's not really telling the story. People that, if you don't know any better and you just watch it, you would think that they were into it, but you have to understand before that, at this point, that was the only shining star for Sunday was the halftime, because everything else, I don't
that
think
was much
anyone
anticipated.
really,
The game itself was like, whatever. I
I
wasn't
don't
playing.
think, you know what, this wasn't one of those, like, hey man, I'm giving something for the game. Like there was a lot of people. I didn't really hear that many people kind of getting prepared for this. It was just like, yeah, Sunday, it's a game.
Yeah, what are
there
y'all doing
weren't
for
as
Super
many
Bowl?
Super
What y'all
Bowl
eating? It
parties.
was like,
even to that point, like we just kind of made a little food at home and just sat on the couch.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't about, oh, let's see where we can go and let's get this much and do. It was just like, nah, we're good. We're gonna sit at home and we're gonna ran errands this morning and everything. Even us recording is late because we were just kind of like, life is, we'll get here. We'll get to it when we
Yeah,
get
they
to it
going
because
nowhere.
it wasn't that
Right.
emphasis on it because it didn't even, it almost still felt like that foregone conclusion that, hey, the Chiefs are going to win this. So what am I really looking forward to besides Kendrick? And that's pretty bad when the biggest game in sports is the appetizer to the entree of a halftime performance. But yeah, that's exactly what it was this
Just
year.
to show you the kind of monster year he had, that we anticipated this performance more than the game. We cared about it more. We were more passionate about that performance. I mean, that's most people, even football fans. So, but again, I thought it was great in terms of just to show he set the bar and the standard for rap artists to come after him, perform at the halftime show. Like that's pretty major because you really are, as much as it is America's game, and that's our day, that's our big sporting event, that's our World Cup. He did set the standard, and for rappers who will now take center stage and have the honor of having that of performing at the Super Bowl, you got to put forward a real show, a real Hollywood production. You know what I mean? Because the world is watching you. Again, as much as it's an American thing, it's our pastime. This is going around the globe. It's going everywhere, and Kendrick definitely delivered in that sense. Again, I just would have liked it to be on some damn near crunk type energy, but for what it was, he executed his vision artistically. So wonderful performance.
Yeah, he got his flowers right away.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like on the internet, you were seeing what people.
Oh yeah.
The one thing that some people were critical of is just like the energy. Like, oh, the energy is kind of mid, or this is kind of mid in terms of, and it wasn't so much his performance, but it's true. The energy level. You also got to look at, hey, who's actually in the Super Bowl crowd? You know what I mean? Who has the money to pay for them tickets? They not like us. You know what I mean? It's like
no doubt.
Sit here and watch this at home,
pun intended,
and we gonna have at it. But yeah, it was a great performance. We sat there when Not Like Us dropped. It was like, okay, this is something. Even I love the little nuances, like people literally laying on the street lights. The street lights we grew up when, hey, it was time for us to come in the house. That's how we knew them street lights came on. We were in the house. So it was just small things like that reminded you of, this is our city. This is where we grow up. This is how it looks. This is how it feels. Seeing Serena come out was disrespecting the Most High, but it was like,
so
that was that pettiness right there. Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to say this though, because, I was checking out the stuff. We have to not forget that all different demographics watch this Super Bowl and the halftime. And the reason why rappers usually don't get the love is because it's a much younger thing, across demographics, it's much for the younger crowd. And, because I was reading and listening, they were like, who is this guy? We could have had better entertainment, but obviously it was coming from a demographic outside of our, us. And
for sure,
that played a role. That's going to play a role into the noise that's going to be said. I couldn't understand it. I didn't get it. And see, this is where the problem is. And I think that for all intents and purposes, how great it was to us, I think we have to not forget that, we're not the only ones watching it. It was great. It was just, like you said, when I saw the street with the street lights, it was like, wow. That was,
this is home.
And also what you may have missed, I mean, obviously we get the symbolism behind that. It's dudes hanging out on the corner. That's the hood. You know what I mean? That's where we come from. Also, it was a nod to the Bay Area. And he had the turf dancers doing their thing under the street light. I thought that was really cool. Kendrick is always giving props to the Bay Area. I thought that was fly, man. Again, the Serena thing, that was that extra, that was that salt in the wound that only, like, Kendrick, again, he can be a petty dude, like, like straight up. But hey, she's a grown woman. She participated in it, knowing full and hell well, what her relationship was with Drake at one point, so.
Right.
It ain't all on him, but, it was just.
The next Hollywood couple.
Yeah.
They act like they're on the path to marriage or something,
Right.
And it's like,
oh, here we go.
Almost dancing on his grave, if you will. Like, that was symbolically what I took from it. But, and I'm sure that may not have been intentional, but again, this is Kendrick, and this dude he's playing chess. He's 4 or 5 moves ahead on some Kasparov type shit. So yeah, that was great. And that was, second half, I was damn near falling asleep. So, but again, congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe one day, in my lifetime, I'll get to see my Dolphins hoist the trophy.
No, crazy. I think we're all in that boat. I mean, I've had the pain of watching it get too close too many times here the last few years to where it's just like, hey,
but you witnessed the championship in your lifetime at the very least.
Sure.
Literally, the
right.
Dolphins have not won since 7 years before I was born. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen the Dolphins win a championship.
Yeah.
You already know what I'm feeling as a Raiders fan. It's just real tough right now. I mean, I'm happy KC. Honestly, I don't care because if Kansas City, of course, I don't want them to win, and not to three-peat. But the thing is, I know eventually, I mean, as long as they have a great quarterback like they have, they'll be okay.
Coach,
they're always coach quarterback combo. Yeah, they got that figured out. Everything else is falling into place. They get them some receivers. I guess they need help on the D line, maybe the O line too, where they can, because they
were rich tend to get richer. You know what I mean? When these guys become free agents, when they're looking for a place to go, everybody's flocking there. So I didn't feel sorry for them. It was just kind of like, I mean, hey, I thought you guys were going to get this, but you absolutely didn't. And to that point, I mean, similarly, the Lakers thought they were about to get somebody too, and they, man, this NBA has been, because that's the other thing that I think the trade deadline did was kind of take away the energy of the Super Bowl. If you think about it, we totally shifted from
that's interesting when you say that.
Right. Kansas City, Philadelphia. I've heard more about Luka. I've heard more about KD being upset. I've heard more about AD and how he started that first half. And so when you really look at it, all the days building up to the Super Bowl weren't about the Super Bowl. It was about the Lakers. It was about, okay, they I think they're a championship team now. I think even in the midst of football, the big bad brother, somehow the Lakers stole the headlines. And even to the same point, they're still doing the same thing. So if you didn't hear Dalton Connect, back with the Lakers. First round pick, back with the Lakers. Mark Williams, not with the Lakers. And so we got word that it was coming out, and it was like, well, hey, what's going on here? What do you mean the trade is being rescinded? One, I can't ever personally recall a trade being rescinded. Nothing comes to mind for me where I'm like, that has happened. So immediately it became, what could have happened here? What is the condition that, the Hornets didn't fulfill for us to be able to get to this point? And what we found out was when they looked under the hood, it wasn't what it was supposed to be. The Carfax came back real dirty. And clearly it was like bad enough to where they're like, no, we're not doing this. We knew he had back problems. And the fact that back problems were not the thing that stopped him from becoming a Laker tells me that there's something very wrong.
Yeah.
To the point to where you knew Luka wanted a rim running center that he could throw lobs to. The fact that this rescinds, but the Lakers actually get hurt in this process because trade deadline's over. You don't have anywhere to go now except the buyout market. What did you guys think about it when you heard about it?
I was surprised because, again, I've never seen the trade rescinded. And when I read the reports, it was the Lakers finding many issues with his physical.
Right.
I'm not sure what that means exactly, but apparently it was bad enough for them to take that action. But I mean, part of me is kind of excited because low key, I'm excited to see Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
He listen, he
brings back shooting.
I wasn't ready to let
definitely. And I just think,
wasn't ready to let it go either.
I think we had something. Technically we still got it. Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Not we with the Lakers. I feel like they have something in Dalton Connect.
I agree.
He's a player who's, I mean, certainly not experienced on an NBA level. I mean, but there's something to be said for those 3 and 4 year college players. They're you come out a little bit more mature because you're a little bit older, obviously. Not 18, 19 years old.
Right.
You're ready to take a job at the next level, which is really what it is. College is just like anything. It's you matriculate into college and hopefully you go on to bigger and greener pasture. It's the same in basketball. So as much as the league likes to put the emphasis on youth, and I get it from a business perspective, it's a better proposition for you to get a young player who's cost controlled. You have more time, but I think Dalton Connect was special, and he has a chance to do something. And I think he fits with this team. Definitely, you still need a big, no doubt. And as much as I thought Mark Williams would be the remedy for that, clearly that's not the case. The question is now, like, where do you go from here? What else can be done? You still got to patch that boat.
That's the bigger problem.
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger problem. And I saw reports that Connect may not play on Monday for personal reasons. So then the question becomes, is he sore about the fact it's like, bro, you're a rookie. You are a rookie who came in the league who, if we're talking about what we need versus what we want versus what we have, this is truly the part of the business. But this is what all the players always talk about. When you do it, it's okay. It's just business. When I do it, I'm selfish.
Yeah.
And that brings up a great conversation because it really is the same thing, right? We're all kind of leveraging, and it's a weird dynamic to me because the difference is a team commits to you, you commit to a team, but you always understand the team. The team is going to look out for the team.
Right.
It's weird because if you think about our jobs or everyday jobs, this is a little different, right? You know, you're showing up for a paycheck. Could you quit and go to a new place? Yeah, but you're not getting somebody who's like, hey, your work is slipping. You used to be great. We're going to send you over to our competitor. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you never know what that feeling is like. If we get tired of work, we're just like, yeah, I'm out of here. Cool. Here's my 2 weeks if you're lucky. And I'm out. I'm moving on to something else. Someone got me something else. But this is a little different. So it's interesting that they're already citing personal reasons, and I'm like, how long does that recovery take?
It feels a little bit too early in the process to be missing games for personal reasons.
That recovery shouldn't be nothing because, like you said, you're a rookie.
You are
spot up and shoot.
Whatever you get, you should be happy with, really. You know what I mean? Like, what was he?
You should be.
What was he?
Just thankful to be back.
Drafted late in the first round? I say like 15th or not late, but he wasn't a lottery pick. What was he? 15th or 16th or something like that? I forget what.
Say 19th.
19th. Yeah, you definitely got to kind of take whatever you can get at that point in the NBA. Like outside of the lottery, and those dudes ain't even guaranteed half the time. So it's like, yeah, I get it. And to this day, I don't even think about more seasoned veteran. Outside looking in, I would imagine. Well, actually, I take that back because we have not seen too many people handle it well. But what I'm stumped by consistently is their reaction to the reality of being a professional basketball player, being a professional athlete. You can be dealt at any moment.
Along with it,
it's not even. If maybe I'm thinking about me and what I would do in my perspective and my mentality. I wouldn't get that comfortable to plant my flag anywhere first and foremost because you just never know when you'll be uprooted. You and your family,
especially not when you're not a superstar or at least an all-star.
You might want to rent, lease. You might want to stay in a hotel, Ken Norman style, like he did when he played with the Clippers years ago. But as you remember that Clipper team. As a kid, I thought it was weird. Now, as an adult, I totally understand. Like he was not going to commit himself to a place that he may not be here for the long haul. And for a rookie, you certainly. I mean, I get it. You don't know any better, so how do you not take it personal? But
you're feeling good. You playing with LeBron. You know what I mean? Like this is
LA.
You're in LA. You can't. Yeah. I mean, you talk about a rookie jackpot. Let me tell you, the greatest basketball, if I ever had to choose a path for a basketball player, 100% hands down, Devin George. Walk in the league, run off 3. Done. Get a big contract from the Mavs, ironically. And then just sail off into the sunset. I'll take it all day, every day. But
on the ball faded life.
He might be the luckiest player to ever play in the NBA.
Oh, man.
Considering his level of talent. All he got from that experience, man, championships,
Kobe,
contracts.
Championships.
Yeah, man.
Fun that comes with being an NBA player.
Everything for Devin. Everything for him.
Check. You know,
everything for him was icing on the cake. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Everything for him was icing on the cake. Everything was a +1 for Devin George.
Division 3 player?
Division 3.
Yeah.
Man.
You know what? I guess we'll have to wait till Monday to find out everything. I just want to know how bad was that injury? What was that? Just think about it. For them to rescind the draft, they're going to keep that, but it had to be on some
getting the HIPAA laws and all of that. It had to be bad for them.
Joe Embiid level, it's looking back.
Yeah,
knees,
you talk about head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Yeah, that got ugly.
For them to say we ain't taking this straight, bro. I'm sorry, I take this
multiple
back.
issues.
We still got the receipts.
That's crazy.
Multiple. That's what multiple sites say. It's multiple issues.
I've heard of trades. Yeah, we've heard of trades that were nixed because of injury. Like that's happened before. But for you to say like, yeah, we want our money back, player, like we got the short end of the stick on this one and we ain't going for it. So yeah, let's recall that.
At the age of 23,
run that one back. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. What is happening right now where a lot of these guys, is it because they're playing too much basketball at a younger age?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, the Joel Embiid effect is happening. I mean, as a matter of fact, I know that's not on the topic, but he's supposedly about to be out, have to have another knee surgery. What is going on? Like, what really is going on? That hot process of that scalpel. That's the only thing that's the only thing he's been consistent in his life. It's a scalpel and pain meds because he didn't get to play a lot. But for the Lakers, like you said, it's a trade deadline. I mean, as a Laker fan, I was happy because I said, okay, at least we got a big man and we could try something with him to see what we'll do. But now I guess we have to go back with the original plan, which is it's for the future 100%. I don't know what to see, okay, we got Luka, we got LeBron.
Yeah.
We got
I'm
the
happy
pieces
that
back.
first pick back, though.
Yeah. But
I know we've said it a ton of times, but here I go again. Maybe it's time to give Dwight a call. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm with it.
Yeah.
What are you going to hurt? I dropped.
What are your other options right now?
Drop Christian Wood in a heartbeat and put him because at least I'm gonna get 6 fouls. I'm gonna get 6 good ones. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get somebody
rebound.
And not to sell Dwight short. I think he can give you more than that even now.
Oh no, absolutely. I think he can. If you looked at when he was playing overseas and him adding a 3-ball and all this stuff, what is it going to hurt? The man wants to be there. You need a big body. At this point, there is no risk. Christian Wood ain't playing for you. So what are you losing? You bring back a champion, and I kick the tires on that all day.
I think this is a league thing because if it was solely a Laker thing, he would have never got back the second time after the Kobe. His short stint with the Lakers at that time. If it was purely just a Laker issue, if the Lakers wouldn't allowed him when we were in the bubble, I don't think that was the issue. There was something going on. I don't know who he's rubbed wrong.
He got into it with AD. So, but I mean, that's not even an issue.
Yeah, but that's not even. Yeah, right. So there has to be because how about forget just the Lakers that he's not in the league at all. That's telling me that there's something going on. Right.
Yeah.
There's something going on with someone in. Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to keep belaboring that point.
Commissioner, I'd be dealing with, I don't know. It has to be something. I guess we'll never find out.
So,
but still.
When you brought up Kobe, I know you didn't mean to, but it kind of triggered something in me I was thinking about recently amidst all the trades and stuff like that. We didn't mention it last week, but we tend to forget that there is a Kobe connection at play in all of this.
Oh, for sure.
It's the ghost of Kobe Bryant still in the crypto, still at the Staples Center. Yeah. We got Nico Harrison, who is the man responsible for bringing Kobe on board at Nike.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got Rob Pelinka, Kobe's old agent, now Laker GM, right?
Yep.
And those two, who had a relationship, but crossing paths to make this work. I just thought that was kind of lost in the sauce. That there is
the irony of it.
Yeah, that Kobe spirit kind of looms still in his
residuals.
No doubt.
Then you hear you hear the story of what happened. Like it just started over some conversations and didn't even really take it seriously. And then next thing you know, it really developed.
If you believe that, yeah.
But I don't. But now, do we believe? I don't believe that. Just like, do you guys really believe that Rich Paul and LeBron James are blindsided and didn't know? I just find it.
To me, it actually makes sense.
It makes sense. I believe it wholeheartedly.
I only say it makes sense in this. Normally, I would have said no. The problem is if LeBron gives you any pushback and you still do it, it's now blatantly like, we've moved on. You're not that guy anymore. I think the only way you can pull this off, because keep in mind, the Lakers couldn't hold on to nothing. When I say nothing, I mean, we can argue that we lost Kawhi because we could not stop talking. And that was literally his test. I'm going to put something out and just see if you can hold it. And sure enough, we couldn't. Everybody was, nope, he's coming.
Yeah.
You get Magic on late night TV, wink, wink, and Paul George. That's just not who we are. Anything Laker related has always gotten out. But this, being a generational international superstar, Rob understood that I couldn't even get this to them until the 11th hour because even Utah, even Danny Ainge had no clue that he was about to be helping the Lakers acquire Luka Doncic. He didn't find that out until absolutely. So that's why I'm saying I honestly think, they kept this under wraps, and it was, but it's weird how we can show that we can do it. We just never chose to do it. But when it came to this one, these two started with a cup of coffee, and it was like, would you ever trade? And I'm sure if I'm Rob, I'm like, my old boy is being funny. We gonna laugh, ha ha ha. And he's like, no, I'm kind of really serious about it. And then the comments from coming out about, when you look at the greats and how hard they work and how well they kept their condition, I was like, oh, so no, this was not a mishaps.
No.
This was, hey, bro, we don't believe you are that dude long term. You can put the ball up today, but I'm not putting my future on you. I'm not putting 345 behind you because you've shown me that you're not that guy. That, to me, is probably the best thing that could have happened for the Lakers because Luka is going to be on his Kendrick in a way that he's going to try to destroy the league.
You definitely hope so, right?
Yes,
it was necessary.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
Well, because they said that in his draft report, that was the issue. Said he was going to be great, be a superstar, all-star, everything else, but he lacked those type of intangibles to want to be the greatest. That heart. Yeah, everything, you check all the other boxes, but that heart, I don't know if you have that. And maybe, just maybe, in Dallas, they know how great he could be, that they know it would possibly never happen in a Mavericks jersey.
Yep, I can see that.
Because, because it's like you said, 340, 350 million for a player that's not going to achieve what he possibly could be. And because the only way he would have to feel, because I guess by all accounts, they said he didn't show any type of, willingness to want to be better after losing in the finals. So, because usually that wakes the player up like, you know what, I tasted it a little bit. I can't lose again. So I'm going to come back in the best shape of my life. I'm going to do something different. And they said by all accounts, it was just like, it's another season. And granted, he's only 25 years old, but there's no one a part of that organization that will that's at his caliber or even, almost to that caliber that can hold him accountable and he would listen. So I think they had nothing in place, no infrastructure in place. You hear the reports about, literally snatching, a beer out of his hand, bro, you really? Like, you're going to be
we didn't hear it. We saw it. There's actual video of Michael Finley taking that beer can out of little buddy's hands. So, no.
So think about the Lakers. They knew it and like I said, I just don't believe that they make that decision unless they just knew he's going to be great, but it's going to take for some adversity. And the only way that we can make that happen is if we trade him to kind of light that fire. Now, granted, we still have to see it. You have to, only time to tell. But I just don't see it. I can't imagine there's going to be a time with Luka being I hope not, because I'm a Laker fan. I don't want to see it. I'd be pissed. Like, damn. Even though, did we really lose? You starting to look at it, make me wonder. I was upset with the trade at first, but AD's going to be out and he has to miss some significant time, with that injury.
15 games.
Yeah. And we'll see if he'll be able to come back, full strength after that, or this is going to be like a, repeated offense as far as, injuries go, and it'll nag him throughout the rest of the season. So,
and you know what's terrible? If you're a Dallas fan, you were upset. You got the casket at the arena. You got all this vitriol about the trade, and then AD shows up and gives you 24 points in the first half, goes off, screaming, I'm here. I'm here, letting them know, hey, yeah, I know you loved him, but you're gonna love me too. And you got to see that as a fan. And then you see Max Christie. So you got AD giving you 24, you got Max Christie giving you 23, couple with Kyrie, your bigs, all that you already have, and you got just enough of a sample to get excited. And then a non-contact injury, and they're talking about several weeks.
Y'all
I would have preferred not to see it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be better if it was just like, I didn't get to see what this was about to be.
The worst thing that can happen is that it's the hope. That's what kills you, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to see it. There's a splash of it, like, damn, and listen, the league already knows who Anthony Davis is, what he's made of, what he's capable of.
For sure.
I mean,
and it's disrespectful the way they. Even if you looked at some of the grades, it was like Dallas Mavericks F, Lakers A plus
that's
plus plus
super
plus.
extreme.
I was like, wow, F.
No, how about the odds, the championship odds? Like, listen,
Theirs
I would
dropped, ours went up, and I was like,
significantly.
how? Yeah,
Yeah,
We
but
lost
so
defense.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Well, this is what I would ask you
all of
guys,
our defense.
because one thing that we didn't look at when it came to that trade, and that they were, they were trying to break down. When you looked at AD, was he disgruntled? Was there something behind it? Because he was asking for a 5 to, so he can play the 4, and Dallas pretty much granted him that. But see, I just don't know if you look at it from that standpoint about him kind of voices his opinion about playing the 4, going back to playing it and being more comfortable with that. Was that a part of the reason why they traded him?
I don't believe that.
How about this? Were they even looking for trades before this? That's what I wonder. Was he on the market before this Luka deal went down?
I don't, because the last time you saw him, it was what, 42 and 23 or something ridiculous. I think they found a secret sauce over these last 10 games where you started to see like, hey, this might not be so bad. Where it would have been really nice is if you had kept him and added a Mark Williams or something like that, a big, or really got him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally torn on the whole 4-5 thing. At this point, it's just like, dude, you're playing basketball. Like, I get it, but no, like it's not like you're sitting banging inside all day or outside all day, one way or the other. You could look at Jokic being on the outside more, just as much, if not more, than inside. Like, so to me, that whole argument is more in your head in today's NBA, where you don't have David Robinson and Tim Duncan, where it's like and even that, they're interchangeable in a lot of ways. So I don't think it was that. I think there were times where AD was frustrated because he couldn't see where the vision was going. He understood who he and LeBron were, and it was like, what are you actually doing to get us what we need? Because this window is closing every day. And so I do think he had some frustration there, but I think this was one of those situations where I would have thought they would have built around AD before they built around LeBron, because AD is 31. You know what I mean? So I think if there was truly shopping and trades, it would have been more conversation with Bron, like, hey, you talked about the Warriors last time. What about this? What about? And then it's like, I think this was you couldn't refuse. Right? It's just what you couldn't refuse. You literally had somebody tell you, hey, top 3 player in the league is up for grabs, and I'm not even clearing the cupboard. That's the part that shocked me more than anything. Initially, I was just like you, Bear. I was like, I don't know that I like this, because we got nothing in the middle. What are we going to do? But then when I looked at it, I was like, you still got a first round draft pick. You still have some room, and you still got a couple players that you could move. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm with this, because you didn't have to clear the cupboard for somebody you absolutely should have had to clear. There's no way. I don't care how cool we are. I'm like, hey, I'm giving you the golden ticket. I'm giving you potentially the face of the league in your market in particular for the next 10, 12, 13 years. If he gets reasonably, if you talk about health and everything, all NBA 5 times in a row with a beer in his hand. So if he takes a slight step off of that and just go, let me swap out this beer for, some water, some
But what are
coconut.
they really losing, though? What you think? Okay, look at it like this, and this is how I see it. Let's say he does not become, the super workout guy that gets great in shape, but he still is putting up the numbers before, prior to coming to the Lakers.
Yeah.
If the Lakers don't think it's going to work, they still have a tradable asset, a top guy. I mean, they down the line, as long as he's still in his prime.
For sure. Yeah.
But I'll say this. This is how I know that in my mind, I believe that it was all BS between Nico and, Rob Pelinka, because I think they played it this way because they knew this trade wouldn't have got done, because your boy, that Celtic for life, would have gone against the grain fully to ensure the Lakers didn't get that. I mean, to the point where I don't care if this works great for my team. Lakers going to win out of it. Nope. But here's the thing.
Cut my hand
Nico,
off and hand you
right.
this. Yeah.
Nico Harris has placed his career not only with the Mavs, I think with ever being in the league again. If this trade does not work out, and the reason why I believe that is because you traded away. Let's say the Lakers go ahead and win, and Luka becomes
multiple years.
Yes,
and not only, let's not forget, this is the same man who chose not to re-sign Jalen Brunson and give him the contract that he wanted, and we see how that's working out. So far he's whiffed already.
Yeah, but
that man is already on the guillotine.
Yeah,
we just
it'll
waiting
look
to
like
see if
a
that blade drop.
bloody deal.
Pretty much. Yeah.
This
hopefully
will look,
the blade ain't.
but this will look like, wait a minute. So you messed around and gave away the future?
Wow.
You mortgaged our future for behind some friendship move? That's how that would look.
And the irony of it is, Chris, when you like you mentioned that they didn't have to give away their future to acquire him. The odd thing is they were willing to give up more for Mark Williams in terms of their future. Like that was weird to me. But I mean, obviously,
and it was almost like we have to, and that's the one thing where I look at Rob and I'm like,
yeah,
you're dealing with Charlotte, one. So they're really not going anywhere. Two, as much as they like him, they weren't that high on him. So you basically gave them a deal they couldn't refuse. And it was like, but if you stack it up, don't get me wrong, AD is AD. You gave up 80 and a first round pick to get Luka, and then you went and got backyard bummed, for lack of a better term. Like the kid is young. He's got a lot of potential, but he's also injury prone, and what he was not good at is very pronounced. You gave up a first round pick, you gave up a spot up shooter, you gave up a pick swap for a chance, basically. At least Luka, hey, you say whatever you want. He's out of shape, he's fat, he's blah blah blah, and he still can't be stopped.
Right.
That's the craziest thing watching Luka play, is that you look at him and he's like, Luka would have you thinking you could go throw your shorts back on and be okay, because he doesn't look like he's in great shape all the time. He's not super fast, but he knows himself well enough to know, as long as I keep you moving, it's going to be jab step here, behind the back, stutter step, in and out. Like his arsenal is so wide that he knows exactly what he needs to do. That play where he gets Rudy Gobert on skates and pulls that three to win the game, it's just like that man just literally looks and sees what he needs to do. You got people like AI coming out like he cold. He played like he a black dude. And that's like the highest compliment coming from him out of his mouth. Like he said, I ain't trying to get in trouble, but he was basically saying that brother, he played like us. And so if you look at that and you're going, okay, let's say that right now, the next 2 years, for example, what we've seen in the past is what we get. You still get a top 5 all NBA player, and you didn't clear out the cover.
At the very least.
Yeah, on the low end.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the floor. We're not even talking about a ceiling. We're not talking about if LeBron exposes him to this workout regimen, this sleep regimen, this, hey, I'm in the cryo chamber, I'm here. If he gets into that mode, this is Thanos snapping his fingers. Like, the fact that he wants to go ahead and go, and the crazy part is I could see that being more of a possibility than him being the Luka he is now. One, he's still shocked about being traded. I don't think he ever thought anybody would trade him. Two, not only did they trade you, they came out and told you, you're not that dude. You're not the future. It's one thing to trade a guy and just be like, It's another thing to be like, bro, you ain't worth this money.
Pretty much. That's what they told him.
I mean, that's what they told
from the ownership. That's their statement they released. But you know what? You know what that could be? That could just be, when you break up with somebody, all the worst things about you come out now. Now with you everything, you don't want to hear as a man. You this and that. You know what I mean? It's okay. That wasn't an issue all these years I was with you. Now I ain't here no more. And we ain't going there. But it could have been honest as well. But I understand they need, and it could have been them appeasing their fan base. They want a reason and an explanation. So you got to give them something, some kind of justification for why you dealt our superstar.
Right.
Our international superstar, the future face of the league, at least he has the potential to be. to the Lakers. And of all places, you send him to the Lakers. You give them what they want yet again. And let's be honest.
Give them what they were going to be striving for in the next 2, 3, 5 years anyway.
We don't talk about it much. Right. We won't talk about it much on this show because this is a kind of a Lakers-centric show. Let's keep it real. But me as a Celtic fan, right, I understand, this is the kind of shit that teams are like, I hate the Lakers for. They find a way to poach our guys all the time. Every time you look up.
Pulled it off.
It's that conversation whenever there's somebody up for a free agent, unrestricted free agent, or a trade, or a superstar who becomes available, the first thing you hear, Laker fans, y'all want everybody. But y'all tend to get them in some way or another.
And we do.
So I understand, if you're the Dallas ownership, you're a new ownership group, you got to appease your fans and give them some sort of reason why you shipped out their biggest star, who should have been Dirk 2.0, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
He should have been a career man. He should have been a career wherever he played. He should have been a career player wherever he was playing at, right? But there are two ways I could look at this, right? Robert, you mentioned earlier, Luka's only 25. When you say 25, I'm not thinking only. Because not only is he 25, but that isn't young. I mean, by comparison, if we're contrasting him with LeBron James or Anthony Davis, he's not in his 30s, obviously. So he still has some headway. He still has a runway. But 25 for somebody who's been a pro, youngest MVP in EuroLeague basketball.
17.
Right. He's been a professional for quite some time. He's not new to this. He's true to this.
He's got the miles,
Right. His habits by 25 are pretty much who he is. And I know that there is the hope that he'll get around LeBron and LeBron's influence will pay off, right?
It's valid. Yeah.
But at 25 years old, let's be honest, you pretty much are who you are. Your habits are pretty much set in. But all that being said, but he still managed to be who he is with all those bad habits, right? And I thought about it again. I said, let me think about it in boxing terms. People are familiar with Roberto Duran, one of the greatest champions in all of boxing, one of the greatest middleweights. He had a habit, his walk-around weight and his fighting weight, he would cut weight like crazy. This man would walk around literally 50, 60 pounds overweight. Go to camp, cut that weight, be ready to fight, make the weight, right? And he would do this all the time. He would balloon up and down. That was his thing. He's known for this. Roberto Duran was one of a kind. He's not the only boxer who did it, but he did it in a way that was he was unrecognizable outside of the ring, outside of camp. You wouldn't be able to tell him. You wouldn't know that was him. So maybe he's one of these anomalies that can do this. Off season, he can put on the weight. He can go out and drink, have a good time, not dedicate himself to playing, to being in basketball shape. Because for as great as Luka is, as box office as he is the furthest thing from the picture of athleticism.
Oh, by far.
And for all of, again, I know
at
we
age
get on
25, he's in under the rim.
We've killed Zion for less. I guess the only difference there is obviously durability and availability. He has not played. He's missed a shit ton of games, so I kind of get why it's justified in that sense. But at least when that brother is focused, you can see not only in his form, but his play and his explosion. You can see his athleticism, right? His literally down to his musculature, his frame. Yeah. So he has that going for him. Where Luka, we've never really seen that.
No,
you see pictures of his brother blowing up in the summer. Yeah. Again, I don't mind you celebrating with a couple of cold ones. That's not my issue. But apparently, the ownership and that front office knew that this. It ain't just a beer or two. He tends to overindulge to the point that it causes him to be out of shape. And the last thing I'll say about his shape, I'm not a sports therapist and I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not an expert at this. To my understanding, the injury he currently has sustained, that calf injury, is largely due to what? Either dehydration or being out of shape.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're not going hard enough to be dehydrated.
And listen, as you guys mentioned before,
or you're replacing beer with water, that'll get you.
That'll definitely do it. That'll do it to you. That'll do it. Shit, that beer will dry you out. But as you guys mentioned earlier, he should have a fire burning him in him from last season and that failure. So if you're not motivated by that, we're barely halfway through the season, and you've lost motivation already. That means you can't sustain that motivation. Maybe it's just not in you. And again.
Maybe it's change of scenery that he needs.
Listen, I don't even wish this for the Lakers. I don't wish this. I don't wish this for them. But I hope he does not turn out to be the prettiest
junk car that you ever seen.
But, not even a junk car. I mean, just a complete bill of goods. Like he might be the prettiest bill of goods we've ever seen, and you might never. I mean, look again. I don't believe Luka will ever be anything worse than a perennial all-star. Again, worst case scenario, I don't see it. But I do think in that statement released by the ownership, there is some truth to him and his lack of preparation, his dedication, and
they've seen it firsthand.
Right, they've seen it firsthand. So
they've seen it firsthand this whole time.
Listen, they're not just capping so they can please the Dallas faithful and justifying their move. It ain't all cap.
Well, keep in mind, when it first came out, our first question was, what are they not telling us? Right? That was the first thing we said. Like, hey, what are they not telling us? Because you just don't train. Something went horribly wrong with y'all. We still don't know the extent of that, but something ain't right.
Yeah, no doubt. That was my thinking. I was like, yeah. And again, they made it was their move to make. They made the move.
Yeah.
They made the call after midnight.
When you talk about, even though he's only 25, but he's been playing professional basketball, he really has like 10 years into it, almost in the professional basketball. I don't think that it's about he lives up to expectations of skill set, because maybe that'll come around. But when you think about it, like, okay, he already has some wear and tear. He's only 25, but he has wear and tear as far as playing professional sports, but he doesn't have that will to want to stay in shape and want to get healthier and to get stronger and maybe a little bit quicker, and so he can give a little bit more effort defensively. When you put that along with, some of the reports and the things you've seen, with drinking and blowing up in the off season, I think that could have been cause for pause. Yeah, I can see that. And I can see the other things that, like I said, that we don't know because we're obviously not in Dallas and we're not around them like they are, that they've seen enough. And I've had to believe that they've spoken to J Kidd. And there had to be some type of input from J Kidd too, also, that it's like, yeah, there's something wrong. There's something, and let's just say from a point guard's
perspective, who better?
Yeah.
Right. And let's just say, just having this conversation, that they're like, Lakers, it looks good, like you said, it's shiny. But boy, underneath that Lexus, boy, whoo, that ain't no Lexus motor. That sucker rusted. That sucker's putting out. And look, we just shined it up to dish off onto you, because I just don't believe that Nico would put his career, and not only career, like I said, with Dallas, but in the league, his future on that trade. I just don't believe it. And listen, I don't want it to be like that because I'm a Laker fan. I would have, but if we don't win chips up out of this, if he doesn't learn, Lakers are not worried about this season. They want to see what he's going to do in the off season and how he comes back. That's going to tell us after this season is up.
Well, Bear, you get ahead because we don't even know what happens if he doesn't like the way this season goes and is like, I'm out.
You're right.
That's still a possibility.
He could hit the market.
Like we're talking about Luka being locked in. That man is not locked in.
No.
So I see why they went and got a center. They are very much auditioning for him the same way. Because to me, the one thing the Lakers are going to pay, good, bad, and different, they're going to pay. I don't see a scenario, even if he has a horrible season, bad attitude, cussing out refs, getting taxed, they are going to pay. But we're not convinced that he might not be convinced that, because if I'm on the outside looking in from what they've done to this point, I'll look at y'all have pulled out one ring. These guys, when they are healthy, have had y'all at the top of whatever you needed to be. They run into a buzzsaw when they get against Denver, but what help did they have? So why am I going to sign up for this?
Yeah, that's true.
We can't give them more money than anybody else. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's going to be this big, oh, well, this contract is so much more than the next one right now. So I'm like, it's that goes both ways at this point.
Yeah.
That depends on if you believe that whole Dallas feel, I thought I was going to be there my whole career thing. Like,
I believe he thought that because he was right behind Dirk. I totally believe he thought that. Mark Cuban talked about, I'd rather you, send me the divorce papers before you see me trade this man. So I'm sure, and especially if you think about, 25, you've been in the league in a while, but some of that is just a lack of maturity in life. Some of that is still feeling invincible, where I can have a couple of beers and still go drop 35. Like, I got it. You know what I mean?
have a
There was
stellar
a time
two.
where we would go kill a large chili cheese fry and a pastrami and wash it down with a 2 liter and get up and go play basketball
Right.
in 30 minutes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
And it
not
wasn't
so
a
far
second
gone,
thought.
you
Yeah.
know? No, no, not at all.
That's not lost on me at all. I get that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess again, Dallas having a far more intimate understanding of who he is, seeing him day in and day out, they know him better than anybody else. So to me, it was like that was, and again, you can never make sense of it. Again, to put it in like relationship, it's like, damn, you this bad, but you single, ain't got no kids, and never been married, and never had a family. Like that's like why are you alone? Like we asked them questions, like for real.
Yeah.
Like at some point, like so we could be wrong, but again,
well, yeah, because everybody else knew what they're getting, but Dallas knew what they were getting with AD, so it wasn't like we were hiding.
But now they actually have to feel what it's like.
Well, look, what are they,
you might have had an inclination, but now
25?
you know exactly. Oh, this is the risk of getting in business with AD. Is that at any given moment he might not be on the court.
Which is sad because he was balling.
Yeah,
he was really having a good shot.
Yeah, but man,
true AD
now,
fashion. Yeah, well,
yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but at this point,
And,
28 and 25, and now this injury going into the midway point of the season and the All-Star break and everything, and that's going to be tough because
I mean it's good timing that it's All-Star break because hey, he's got some time to recover. Yeah. He's not going to be in that game now, so him and LeBron aren't going to get to take the floor one last time this year. But
I mean, listen, if for no other reason, it creates enough speculation that we have this and plenty more to talk about surrounding this trade because there's so many rumors, a lot of conspiracy theory floating, and some of it sounds plausible.
Yeah,
I believe some of it to some extent. I don't, I've learned, the pandemic has taught me to not thumb my nose up at the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah,
it's just fun to discuss because there are a lot of possibilities and there are a lot of things behind the scenes we don't know. So it just makes for a lot of fodder, and it gives us more material to discuss.
Too much mystery. That's why, because when like you said, many teams, they would open up the cupboard and like, what you want, dog?
Yeah.
It just would have been, just think about that. Because if you thought they
got a haul with Rudy Gobert, this would have been crazy.
But you know what? I actually understand it a little more, and I'll tell you why. Look at what the Phoenix Suns are about to deal with KD and Bradley Beal. In essence, the Lakers avoided that. Let's say the trade didn't go through and it had been loud and it had been covered. That would have been a problem, right? Because LeBron wasn't on board with it. AD wouldn't have been on board with it. You would have brought those guys back feeling disrespect. It's exactly what KD is going through now, to where he finds out, oh, I'm all in these trade rumors. And I get a call from Steph like, yeah, we're trying to get you back. And he had to tell Steph, I don't feel like it's right. I don't feel like the time is now. In essence, putting him down slowly because you ain't got that much time left. So if the time ain't now, it ain't happening.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. That was a conversation amongst old friends where it's like, yeah, it's not the time. That's just an easy way of saying I don't want to be back. I don't want to come play second fiddle to you again, because been there, done that, was MVP and still felt like I was robbing. So I'm cool.
I'll never be as beloved as you are.
Damn, KD, how much more? I mean, come on now. You made many stops. You made some stops since then, and it has not panned out, and it's not panning out now.
Brooklyn is an all-time failure. You look at that, how they assembled those Avengers, and that, But to that point, I think that it did make more sense to me when I thought about it in that way, because you keep it amongst you. If you guys figure, hey, it's not going to work out, then fine, it's not going to work out. But you don't deal with the backlash. I mean, we're talking about a rookie potentially having emotions about, I'm out for personal reasons, and he don't have any cachet in the game yet. But you think about a KD, Bradley Beal, and all these guys now who now have to come back and play.
Yeah.
Phoenix needs to blow it up. Phoenix needs to trade all of them and get as many assets into, because when that team got put together, I was like, that's going to be a problem of epic proportions, and it just hasn't been. They can't value a big man because there's too many people who need the ball, too many shots going. Like, that team, the way it's constructed, I think we're starting to see that the league needs true teams. You need the Drew Holidays of the world, right?
Yeah.
You need the Mike Conleys of the world. You need these plug and play guys. You need the
glue.
Tony Allens of the world. You need those guys who really are a complement to where you are deficient. Everybody doesn't need to score. Yes, I need somebody who is a great wing defender and can disrupt. Yes, I need somebody who can just knock down the open shot when they're called upon versus having to do it all day, every day. And I think we're starting to see that come back to basketball because if you look at what happened with Boston, right, when they got Drew Holiday, it was a wrap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Their whole look, their feel, everything about them was like, yeah, this is different. So I think that's what we're going to start to see more and more of.
And also, this trade has uncovered one more thing that has been kind of a revelation. Well, it shouldn't be, but we've never seen so much uncertainty. So for that reason, you can't feel comfortable anywhere, even as a superstar.
Ever.
That rug can be snatched underneath your feet at any moment now. We know that. Like, so if you are a KD, I mean, and a lot of this stuff, like you mentioned earlier, how it seems unfair when the players initiate the move versus when ownership does it. One is just business, and the other is something else, right? File under disgruntled employee or malcontent, right? I guess the only problem is because you got too many of these Jimmy Butler type instances where guys are just, they are, for lack of a better term, kind of malcontents. Like, you can't put them in a situation that's optimal anywhere. They will find something to complain about. They'll want out. They'll gripe about something. And some of these dudes just cannot find their footing anywhere. But now we know that no one is safe. You can be dealt at any given moment, which is all the more reason why I never understood the personal feelings, because that's part of the game, right? Aside from that, again, we can talk about that trade and the aftermath and after effects of it forever. There were other trades made around the deadline. Anything else that was impactful enough that really moved the needle for whatever respective team that Jimmy Butler going to Golden State?
Not really.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That one was so far ahead because what you're looking at is you're looking at a face of a franchise for a decade or more versus another stop with Jimmy Butler. Because really, do we think Jimmy Butler's that more transformative than an Andrew Wiggins or whoever that? No, it's just kind of like, hey, it's time to try something new. Yeah, we need to shake it up a bit.
How I think we should look at it. Because of what the Supermax now is and what it could be, that whole dynamic as far as contractually the money is going to garner a different type of response from ownership and all the teams. Because if I'm going to invest that type of money in someone, and that's the thing, because the mid-level exceptions and guys, you can be an all-star, and the type of money that you're receiving is that of superstar money. And that's too much money that's tied up into guys that won't, I think, isn't the final piece. Like, to me, Jimmy Butler, he's always played well enough to where he could be the number one guy on most teams. But did we look at him as the same as a KD? Did we look at him? He wasn't that top tier to me, but his play was good enough to where it could garner some type of, push to where he was going to get the money and be by default recognized like that. When he went to Miami, he was recognized like that, but he was never on KD, LeBron, Steph. We didn't view him like that. We didn't view him in the top five. So I think that plays a role. And then you have Steph. I think, like you said, Chris, teams are going to have to start to develop, because I think that the mental space and the strength, and there's not that many dogs in the league anymore. So your superstars that you see, they have all those, tangibles, but there is no Kobe, and by that, there's no LeBrons that's floating around. As not just skill set. I'm talking about that will to want to be the greatest. And you see that, and because that's what conversation are we having about Luka right now?
Yeah,
because
LeBron
James, right? For LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, they understood, number one, you're going to have to keep that body in shape, because it's a long ride trying to win a championship. To get there is a hard fought road. Then on top of that, to win it, and to have to be the guy, and what your body has to go through, and the things that you have to do to win. That's why when I look at Boston, and like you said, they have the recipe. Is you can get 2 All-Stars, but you're still going to need those extra additives like a Drew Holiday and other pieces that can kind of keep everything cohesive. And I think, honestly, much like, even though, we had, who we had back in the day when we repeated with the Lakers, you still had to be Shaw. You still had guys like him that really kind of kept everything tight and, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Things that you can't quantify, on the stat sheet.
Yep.
And part of that
The
was
presence
leadership.
of a real vet.
Yeah. And I think you're going to have to they're going to start looking at those guys and realize that, you know what, they really have a place again. And getting back to specialists, I think like you said, Chris, we have to get back to that. And I think that's where, the Lakers, hopefully we can get to, because Luka, he's not going to be, everything for us. But I think if we can assemble a young enough roster around him that can kind of cover up some of those things, coupled with a little bit of, I don't know who we could get as far as someone, in a senior position to come up in there and kind of lead the way. But I think hopefully we'll be okay. As long as we think that Luka's going to kind of grow out of this, and, hopefully will, I think the Lakers are going to come out on top. Now, of course, Dallas,
just real quick,
I like AD, but.
So the other trades, like we mentioned, Jimmy Butler are going to Golden State for Andrew Wiggins and some Home Depot dudes. Right. Then you have, obviously, Zach LaVine going to Sacramento. Does that do anything for anybody? Does that pique anybody's interest? Does that sound like anything that makes them dramatically better? Does that make them a contender?
Oh.
So that trade, okay, never mind.
Look at you lost.
It's like,
the other trades. I mean, obviously, Luka is obviously the headline in this story, but I mean, there were other trades made. But again, none of them, like they sounded bigger than they really were. When you stopped and you really assess like what the value of the trades are, it's like
because they were swaps. They were swaps.
And pretty even.
Even Luka's trade was a swap, but the two don't compare. Just in age and what could be. Mm-hmm. I think right now we're seeing AD at the height of what he's going to be moving forward. This stretch, this last 8 to 10 games, I don't think there's a next level for him. Luka, there very much is a possibility, I think. And I think that's why the rest of them are kind of like, okay, you get Zach LaVine, you lose the Aaron Fox, you send Brandon Ingram to Toronto. Okay, what are they doing there? You know what I mean? And Sam and Scotty Barnes, and you just don't feel that there's and I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Ingram, but when you're talking about these trades that were like, okay, you got the thing that pushed you over the top, I don't none of those jump out to me personally.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's Luka and everything else. Nothing else jumps off nothing else jumps off the page. Nothing significant. Nobody becomes a contender overnight with an addition. They're pretty even swaps. And also, we tend to forget this. I mean, it was historic in so many ways, but one being this was the first time 2 All-Star, not even All-Star, All-NBA players were swapped mid-season. This is the first time ever.
Yep.
This is the first of its kind. That's why it is a bit of a watershed moment for the NBA and the league, and that's why it made it made the news the way it did. And we're talking about it for weeks, and we'll be talking about it a whole lot longer. Yeah. We'll be discussing this for because we want to see how this thing plays out. So far, things have happened the way we kind of thought they would. I don't want that for Dallas or AD. I think he's a great fit, and I think he did kind of raise their expectations to at least conference championship.
Just a half.
Well, just one half. I mean, but then like I say, it's that glimmer of hope. That's what kills you. It's like, damn, we got our hopes up, and now we got
what it could be.
What it could be, and now we got to wait for possibly next season. We don't know how that works out for Dallas, but I mean, if he can get back and in shape and find his rhythm in that team, I mean, wouldn't it be a hell of a story if he does get back
the championship this year,
or he knocks the Lakers off en route to it in the Western Conference or something like that?
I could totally see that. I can
that'd be a hell of a storyline.
Well, I think because the Lakers messing out on the center really.
I would say, they wouldn't have an answer for him. Or the other 2 guys they got there down low. So it's like
Gafford. You forget, you still got Gafford and Lively.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
You know
size for
what?
days, man.
I will say though, the only thing is, like kind of farewell that was kind of tough was, I mean, seeing Chris Middleton, seeing him for all those years being a Buck, and they kind of departing. That departure was just one of them things where I know it was tough.
Business of basketball.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
yeah.
I'm happy you brought that up because I totally forgot about that trade. Only because I felt like for Kyle Kuzma, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't understand basketball. I don't see how you give up Chris. Maybe it's the style of play they want to get up and down. Maybe he's able to run the floor better.
They just want.
He's younger.
I can only justify that one to get younger. Yeah, because if you look at what Kyle does, Kyle is a volume shooter. He's a little bigger, but other than that,
yeah, man. He's one of the guys I learned to stop. Like I got over him. Like when he was traded, it was like he wasn't part of that young core. I thought like you got to keep around. Like he was one of them guys. Like he could be a bit of a fan favorite. I could see him having that kind of effect.
And he can have moments, but it's just moments.
It'll never be more than that. You know what I mean?
It'll never be a consistent play where you could. You
can't
can kind of install him
and
install them somewhere, and you know what you're going to get night in and night out.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. Like not to switch up, but like the whole KD thing. I think that KD mentally, he thinks he's one way and he wants the notoriety and he went all back. He wants to be, remembered as the guy, even if, no matter what team he's on. But it's a pattern now. I think we have to look at. We got to go back to OKC. He wants to be devoid of any type of criticism that comes with being a leader, but he still wants to be recognized as a leader, and he still wants to win. But I don't know if he has those pieces because by all accounts, look at it. We know what happened. We know what happened in that series, which led to him ultimately leaving, and how people were mad at the wrong guy and realized, like, wait a minute, KD, you kind of swung and missed, and you kind of didn't really put your best foot forward, and in that series, which led to you going to Golden State. You know what I mean? And the same thing with this one. I just want to play, but that's not. I'm sorry, you can't be in the position that you're in and to be recognized, to get the money and to be the guy, and not put. It's not just the game, and I think that's what why you need some of these guys that aren't necessarily. They're not going to be the best player on the team, but they hold certain type of key characteristics that you need in leadership and to keep everything cohesive to work. And that's what the Suns are missing. And I think that's why they kind of,
a real leader. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Is that what you mean to say?
Well, because that's because playing with KD is what besides Golden State, you can assemble some of the greatest talent you can have. The question is who's going to be the leader, and he clearly can't be that. Clearly, because the Phoenix Suns,
he has no desire. That's the last thing he wants.
I thought the Suns was going to be a force to reckon with.
I was worried about that,
and it ain't happened, dog. I'm sorry. Blow up, and the more we talk about it, the more I agree. It's time to blow it all up. D-Book can be some. And that's a whole nother conversation. Does he?
Oh, that comes down to an owner coming in and just deciding, I know what to do, and I'm going to swing big and I'm going to swing often, and it just didn't work, and it happens from time to time. I think that's a problem that they're going to have to figure out. So,
yeah.
I mean, for us Laker fans, we're going to have to hold on, and we're going to, kind of this year is going to be what it's going to be, and how it ends, I'm not going to be mad at it because it's understandable. I don't expect us to just be this team just because, especially with no defense and, losing AD and losing the rim protector and the big that we're going to need in the playoffs anyway. I don't expect much this season, but really what I'm looking for is to see, I want to see Luka being around LeBron and seeing how that rubs off into going into the offseason. Because, see, that's where it is. Going into the offseason, and let's see if certain things he may have picked up, or LeBron, is he going to spend one of those summers where you're going to hear, even if I'd be pleased if I start hearing about it. Yeah, LeBron, he's been working out in the summertime. He's been getting up with Bron, and he's, hired a nutritionist. All these, he don't have to hire nobody. Lakers probably do that, but I want to start to hear those things going into the offseason. Because this season, after we lost our big man, and then I mean, it is what it is.
We'll see what it'll turn out to be.
We don't know what the future holds, but one thing I can all but promise you is it'll be exciting. At the very least, it'll be exciting.
Even if it's a train wreck,
it'll be some fun basketball. If you don't get nothing else out of it, so. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered the gamut of our topics, man. Ain't much more on the horizon right now, and in the world, I mean, there's plenty going on, but in terms of sports and culture, it ain't a lot.
Besides it being full-time basketball now, since football is over.
I mean, if you ain't counting spring football in March, but whoever you are, if you like
I'm just saying, you're running into the All-Star game, and let's see
college
what everything's going to look
like.
Yeah.
So it's that time of the year, huh?
Okay, well, so before we go, look out for the Spurs. Check that team out.
Oh, definitely.
I think, yeah.
Can't sleep on that.
I think that, to be fair, that's probably the one trade that they got some good running mates, because they kept the veteran Chris Paul there to kind of facilitate and get them set up and get those two running together. So yeah, if there's any other one to be excited about, it was that one. I think that was the one. So
yeah,
I think that's it, man.
Yeah, with all that news, the other good, we have some good news, I guess, sort of good news. If you are following the show, have been following the show, or you want to continue to follow, we are now on YouTube. So, sound effects for that if I had it. But we on YouTube now. You can find us at, for real. I need to upload that. But we are it's at Supreme Court Basketball on YouTube. Just type in at, don't forget the at symbol, Supreme Court Basketball. Our episodes are available there. Of course, I don't want to be begging for it, but I would appreciate it. We would appreciate it all if you like, comment, subscribe. And if you really love us,
absolutely.
If you really dig in the show, give us a love offering. Feel free to give us a love offering. Let's take it there. Give us a good love offering.
Yeah.
And that's on our website at supremecourtbasketball.buzzsprout.com. Again, that's supremecourtbasketball.buzzsprout.com. And also on all the other streaming platforms where you can get all the other podcasts. We're at Apple, Spotify. We're at all the major ones and some of the minor ones. You know where to find us there at Supreme Court Basketball. But so reach out.
And then if you want to, email us, Supreme Court Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you want to hear.
Right.
Or let us know what you think about what we said so far. If you have a rebuttal, if you agree, just go ahead and drop it in there. We'll respond. We'll take a look at it, see what's going on out there in the world, see who's following us.
We can rap a taste on it. Yeah, we ain't.
Right.
Shit. Right.
We're not mean guys.
Come holler at us. Come check us out.
Go drop cut down on a couple of them lattes, send it our way. You know what I mean?
We'd appreciate that. Yeah. A cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't kill nobody, right?
That's all it is. Right?
For $1 a day, you too could sponsor your podcast,
The building fund.
The macchiatos is about $10.
Right?
Trust me when we say this ain't going to the building fund, like in church. It isn't now. There ain't gonna be none of that going on around up in here. We don't get that.
Right?
That's right. Right.
But so with that, I hope to hear, you'll hear from us soon, and we look forward to,
going.
Yeah. Signing off. I'll check y'all next week. Anybody else?
Go for it, Bear.
I'm just saying, this was another good one in the book. More to come. I'm telling y'all, come check this out. There's some real stuff going on over here now. As much as time moves on and everything, you're going to figure out and kind of be in the flow with us when you hear some of our isms and our words and everything. Telling you, tap in with us now. You want to be one of the ones that said, I start. Don't you want to be one of them people that was just like, I remember,
those
first couple episodes, I went from the giddy up. Yeah.
Right.
Don't you want to be one of those? Tap in with us now.
And the merch came in. And the tours came in.
Right.
It all went the way we wanted it to. Yeah. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We're looking forward to bringing you more. This has been good for us. You guys are barely getting into who we are. We got some fun plans coming up for our origin stories.
Yeah, we're barely getting into who we are. Yeah, on this platform, on this medium. Yeah, we're barely.
We got some stuff cooking for you guys. So hang with us. Tell a friend. Subscribe. Like you said, hit those like buttons. Keep us going. The level of engagement, we get to see that. So that drives us to keep coming back and doing more.
No doubt.
But these are my brothers. Just coming back to be with them is more than enough. But we want to take you on that journey with us. So don't forget to like, subscribe. Hang out with us for a minute.
Chris signing off. Catch y'all next week.
Out. Peace.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.